Hey guys, Michael and Dano here again with another episode of Bucks Island on Tour. Dan's been on the road a little bit, and let's jump into where were you this past weekend?
Well, we were at Counce, Tennessee, the bottom end of Pickwick Lake, staying at the Botel campground below Pickwick Dam. The Elite Series went out of the Pickwick Landing State Park there in Counce. And a very, very interesting tournament. Normally this time of the year, it's completely offshore. And when I mean offshore, I mean ledge fishing, even as deep as 30 feet. And it was a mixed bag of results. I know guys that were flipping this week. So this past week. I know guys that were swimming worms in really shallow water. I know guys that were fishing for cruisers, and that all finished in the top 10. And it was an interesting week. I don't know what to attribute it to. Normally this time of the year, you're looking at just everybody take a turn, stand in line, find whatever piece of ledge you can that you can squeeze onto and fish. You know, a 6XD, a big worm, a big jig, a flutter spoon, and that stuff happened. But then there was an awful lot of other stuff that went on too. So it was an interesting tournament. Brandon Lester won it with 85, 86 pounds, something like that. It's his first Elite Series victory. He won an Open earlier this year. He's the stepson of Clay Dyer, our pro staffer.
Gotcha.
So that was fun to watch and be there to see the family's response. Knowing that, you know, I've had a long friendship with Clay and then that he's, you know, family to the dealership. That was really cool to see. Pretty emotional. Anyway, and Lester, he fished mainly offshore. He had some shallow ledge spots that rolled 4 to 12 feet, as you'll hear in the video. And then he had one deeper spot that he caught a little bit off of as well. I would say early in the tournament with all the pressure, there were a lot of Nico rigs, however it's supposed to be said. There were, you know, finesse bites. You heard of flutter spoons, you heard of the jigs from some of the guys, and then Chris Zaldane, when pressure lightened up a little bit on the weekend as far as tournament boats and he had water to himself, was throwing a swim bait.
There's a big
sound like one he had to rig. Yeah, exactly. Well, he started finesse. And he finished in the top 10. He was throwing a Nico rig and possibly even a drop shot. I heard some of that stuff going on as well. But anyway, it was a neat tournament, hot, not a lot of movement the first 2 days, but of air, but it picked up a little bit and made it a little bit more comfortable.
All right. Well, so you managed to catch up and get a little interview as always. So why don't we go ahead and roll that, and let's see what the pros have to say.
All right, Brandon. Here we are. A lot of people, myself included, said this was kind of a matter of time before this happened for you, and here we are. You got a blue trophy, 2022 Pickwick Lake champion. What's that feel like first?
Gosh, it's so awesome. It's hard to put into words, man. It really is. Just 9 years of hard work and really almost a lifetime of hard work. I knew I wanted to be a professional bass fisherman when I was 9-10 years old. When I knew you had to do something for a living, I said I want to be that guy. I grew up watching a lot of these guys. I mean, that's what I've always wanted to be.
You did this in front of your home. I mean, really, you're 2 hours from home, and you had a lot of family here. Not that a lot of them don't come anyway, but what's that feel like to be standing in front of all of them?
It feels so amazing. I feel like, honestly, I'm glad I did it more for them than for myself, really, because they've been there so many times when I've been so close, you know, and I'm just glad to finally hold that trophy for them, for sure.
Break down your pattern for me and what kind of were key to everything.
Yeah, really the whole key to my victory this week was having a couple places off to myself. I found a real special little shallow place. It topped out in about 4 or 5 feet, rolled off into about 7 feet, had a shell bed, a little clean spot right where it rolled over. And that place gave me a good start every single day. All of my weight came from there the first day, and every day I got a really good start there. And then, it was typical ledge fishing stuff from there. I had another spot that I had to myself. It was about 14 feet on top, rolled off into 20 or 21. And as far as baits go, all the typical ledge fishing stuff. I caught some on a great big square bill. I caught some on a Striking 6XD, caught some on a Nico worm. Today I caught a 6-pounder on a scrounger. So I just switched it up. You always got to show those fish something different out there.
You had them early, just about every day it seemed like. Did that give you some patience and some faith and relaxation at that point?
Absolutely, because I would say at least an hour to 2 hours of every day looking for new spots for the rest of the tournament, so that was a big deal. And as a matter of fact, that place where I caught the 6-pounder today, that was a place that I found yesterday while I was kind of killing time, honestly, because I knew I already had a great bag.
So this is your second major win this year. You won in Florida on the Opens level. What did having that win in your pocket teach you to be here today when in the past you've had opportunities and just things didn't work out?
I think as I go along in my career, I've always heard people say you got to learn how to win, and I'm starting to understand what guys that have won a lot of tournaments mean by that. Everything that you see in practice, you got to learn to keep all that in your mind, because you never know what's going to change throughout the tournament. Very rarely can you sit on one spot and win a tournament, and I didn't do that this week. I had to move around. Yes, I had that one special spot, but I had to move around some too. So, just keeping an open mind, taking every day for what it is, and making the right decisions at the right time. I'm really happy with my decision making this week for sure.
Congratulations on a great week, man.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, so as always, what question I'm going to ask. So what's the lesson learned? What's the takeaways for us in our region, which of course Pickwick isn't all that far away and we got plenty of folks that are friends and customers of Bucks Island that get on Pickwick on a pretty regular basis. So what's our takeaway?
I think one of the big takeaways is to look at how the pro anglers adjust to pressures. And what I mean by pressures is fishing pressure. When you have a pro angler who is known for swim bait fishing, obviously came from the West, but he's known for throwing swim baits, and he spends the first 2 days of the tournaments throwing that Nico rig. I think a big deal is to don't be afraid to lighten up. And if you're dealing with a lot of fishing pressure, you have to make adjustments sometimes. The fish may be there. They may have ended up just kind of sulking because they've seen, waves and waves of big plugs, of big spoons, of the big worms. They've seen just waves of it. So I think it's something that try something different, as I guess what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
On the Coosa River, and even Lester, one of the days I know he ended up going to a Nico rig himself. That I believe was it might even have been day 4, but I know on day 3 he did some, but he ended up having to kind of downscale to get more bites. And big fish will still eat it. But let's take a look at the Coosa River. What can you do? So many of us go down that grass line and we throw a swim jig and then we flip. That will work. But what happens if the fish are feeling that pressure? Maybe it's time for us to try something different. So get us a weedless wacky hook with a light, 16th ounce, 32nd ounce sinker on there if the current's not running, and pitch the outside or just inside that stuff. And maybe scaling down isn't necessarily going to 8-pound line. Maybe it's going to 12 and trying something a little bit different, maybe a modified drop shot rig or something. But I think that's the key to take away. is that sometimes you just have to try something different, and don't be afraid to scale down in order to get a bite when you need it.
All right. Well, guys, as always, I've got it link up in the description or down in the description, depending on what platform you're watching this on. That'll take you right to a collection of tackle, some of the stuff discussed. Obviously, a lot of variety from this week. So hopefully that makes it a little easier to find you a little something to help you catch some around here. So real quick, where are you now? Because clearly you're not in the studio with me. And
No.
what do you have to look forward to?
We're at Boatel Camp. We're at Blue Water RV in Dayton, Tennessee. We're actually up here for the Bass Pro Tour.
Okay.
Kevin Van Dam won the Group A qualifying, so he qualifies to go to the championship round. Group B qualifying will end today. We'll figure out what that is. I haven't actually had a chance to check Score Tracker this morning yet. So there's 3 more days in the event. We'll go ahead and get an interview with the winner. We'll find out what's going on here. We're there at Watts Bar, which is right above Chickamauga. Again, a lot of guys expecting to do things deep, and I know some fish that were caught shallow yesterday. Talked to Jared Lintner. I talked to Randy Howell, who didn't make the cut. I caught up with Timmy Horton, and there's a lot of different things going on. But we'll get a wrap up video with that winner as well on Thursday, and we'll do another one of these next week. And I will be in studio next week.
Nice. Well, Dan, be safe out there. Enjoy. And guys, we appreciate you watching. Hope you get a little something out of this. And I guess we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.
Sounds good. Bye.